Hello everyone, Fred here. In this installment of TPP Dynamite, I'm going to be refuting the absolute worst arguments that I've heard for why James Gunn's Superman was actually a financial success. First things first though, if you haven't already, let me encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I'm currently at nearly 600 subscribers and am really trying to reach 1,000 as soon as possible. I post film, book, and TV series reviews. I do opinion pieces on entertainment, news, and affairs. I'm also an author of adult and young adult mystery novels. I'm going to be releasing a new Hitchcockian short mystery called Gumbo Night next month. I'm quite pleased with this one. There's a link to it in my video description below, and I encourage you to check it out and pre-order it as well. With that in mind, and without further ado, I'm going to just jump right into it. So, as everyone who watches this channel either knows or should know by now, I am not a fan of the way that James Gunn shields a large part of the entertainment media, a large number of so-called neutral film reviewers and influencers, as well as several writers and directors and actors have recently taken to spreading the lie that James Gunn's Superman was a financial, particularly a box office success. And this has nothing to do with the quality of the movie or whether or not I liked it, though for that matter I did think it was a decidedly mid movie and not one iota greater than okay. No, this has everything to do with the fact that I am a truth absolutist as well as a firm believer in fair play, and that it has always bothered me how the same people who criticize very legitimate problems, both financially and narratively, with the DCEU and the Snyder stuff, basically revise all the rules when it comes to the DCU and the Gunn stuff, turning blind eyes and deaf ears to problems with both because, well, they like James Gunn, or they like his past work in the case of his unpaid shields, or they want to keep getting goodie bags and insider access in the case of certain reviewers and media outlets, or they don't want to poison the well of future employment with Warner Brothers Discovery in the case of certain actors and writers and directors. So, that in mind, I released a video yesterday wherein I broke down the primary reasons for why Superman is, without a doubt, a financial failure for Warner Brothers Discovery. And as I expected, I got a fair amount of pushback from the Gunn Shield crowd, and most of it was just baseless Gunn Shield foolishness. You're a Snyder bro, math isn't math, the earth is flat, you're just defending the Orange Man, you know. And that kind of thing doesn't really bother me because I'm old enough to basically be resigned to the fact that there will always be people out there who are allergic to any truth that they don't want to hear, such as life. Nevertheless, there are two arguments that I got quite consistently that I did feel the need to directly address because of just how fallacious and erroneous they actually are. One will only take a minute and the other will take a few minutes, so I'm going to start with the easiest argument first, the easiest wrong argument, that is. And that argument is that Superman is a financial success because if it was not, James Gunn would not have been given the authority to greenlight and write the sequel that he's recently been teasing as in early development. And the easy answer to that is yes, he would, because James Gunn has a contract with Warner Brothers Discovery and is the head of DC Studios. Until his contract runs out in late 2026 or early 2027, he has carte blanche to greenlight and create any DC Comics film project that he wants for DC Studios, regardless of how successful that project is with audiences or critics. That's like saying, well, Captain African American Brave New Hurl or Thunder Blunders or Fantastic Four Wrong Steps didn't truly flop because if they had, the characters from all those movies would not be returning to headline Avengers Doomsday. Yes, they would. As long as Kevin Feige is running the studio, making the films, and as long as Kevin Feige okays the deed. It's called doubling down on a bad decision. Newsflash, studio executives do it all the time. James Gunn is the egotistical executive who controls the studio that made Superman. So of course he has the power to pay himself to write and possibly direct the sequel to another movie that he paid himself to write and direct as long as he controls the studio making the movies. Get it? It's called the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. DC Studios is the gold, James Gunn is the he, and Superman's sequel is the rule. Okay, second worst argument for why Superman was a financial success. And that would be the argument that Superman was a financially successful movie, specifically because Superman is currently the highest grossing superhero movie of the year. And I'm going to address this just purely on a common sense level first, a common sense metaphorical level. Then I'm going to address it on an empirical and grounded financial level. All right, common sense. Just because a movie is the highest grossing superhero movie does not make it a financial success. Hypothetically speaking, 4 movies could be released in a year, all with budgets of between $200 and $300 million. The first could make a single dollar at the box office. The second could make $2. The third could make $3. The fourth could make $4 whole dollars. The fourth would be the highest grossing superhero film of the year, but would still be a cataclysmic financial failure for the studio. A failure that lost the studio hundreds of millions of dollars, and that should signal the ends of the careers of the movie's writers and directors, as well as the studio executives for even signing off on it in the first place. No. A movie's success is not determined by how well it does in relation to other movies of its kind that released that year, but rather how much profit it makes for the studio. Now, for a movie to be profitable these days, it's generally understood that that movie needs to make roughly 2.5 to 3 times its total budget, including marketing, filming, everything. And that profitability determination is based on many accounting factors, including but not limited to the reality that a movie needs to make more than it costs to surpass the break-even point, and the reality that movie theaters generally claw back roughly half a movie's box office gross as their own price for playing the movies. So yes, indeed, it is very much so possible for the highest grossing superhero movie in a given year to also be a big, fat, flopping failure. Now, that in mind, grounded financial level. James Gunn's Superman budget, the total projected budget, as reported by Warner Brothers Discovery on good and proper legal business documents, was at least $363 million. Though there's now some evidence to suggest that the final number is more like $400 million, divided between a production budget of roughly $225 million, which James Gunn keeps claiming is the full budget, and a marketing budget of between about $125 and $200 million. And that means that even going by the generous, lower projected budget number of roughly $363 million, this movie needed to make $910 million and $1,092 million at the box office to be profitable. Between those numbers, it has made, at the time of this recording, just over $600 million. It's on its way out of theaters, and it's already available for streaming. Ergo, this movie is, wait for it, a financial failure, despite that, yes, it did earn more at the box office than the 3 other superhero movies that came out this year and also flopped flatter than a potato pancake because of how many problems they had. I understand how badly some people want Superman to be a success so that James Gunn can be vindicated in the eyes of people who've doubted him since Warner Brothers Discovery gave him charge of the DCU after every other major creative in Hollywood turned down the role. But that just does not tally with reality. This is not a matter of shilling for Snyder or hating on Gunn. This is a matter of mathematics. And honestly, of improper planning of the DCU on the part of James Gunn. At any rate, I just needed to get that out and off my chest, and that's just my opinion, though my opinion based on indisputable facts and hard mathematical evidence. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Are your feelings more complex? Sound off in the comment section below. Meanwhile, if you like this video and made it this far, don't forget to leave a like, click subscribe, ring that bell, and hey, follow me on social media as well. So long.